Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. It's ScrawlrBox time, and as per usual lately I'm holding up an empty box because I am filming this intro before the box is actually here. We're doing the September 2019 ScrawlrBox. That means it was mailed in September. It is now October. That's fine. Hopefully they are continuing with their usual trend and they know it's getting here in October, so it's Inktober themed. Let's open it up, find out. I certainly hope it is.
The featured artist this month is our very own fellow YouTube artist, Kasey Golden. If you don't subscribe to her, you really should. One of the things she's known for is these adorable stylized ants, and she tends to do these search and find type illustrations with a ton of these ants doing different things. When I first started seeing the earliest unboxing posts for this box on Instagram and found it had a Kasey Golden print, I considered doing a similar scene with a different type of bug, but then I watched her unboxing, got her impression of the materials included, and then I tried the materials myself, and I changed my mind. Maybe someday. If I ever do try to do a search and find type illustration in Kasey's style, what sort of bug or creature should I use? Let's run through the materials card and I'll talk about the materials, then we'll talk about the piece I decide to paint and give some more overall thoughts on this month's box. As per usual, I will have all the cost breakdowns in the description box below. The card gives suggested retail prices in pounds sterling since ScrawlrBox is from the UK, but I do also include the USD and CAD prices, which I convert when I sit down to record each time, so they should be accurate conversions around the time the video goes live. I'm not sponsored by ScrawlrBox, by the way. I keep up with this subscription myself because I enjoy it, and I really do think ScrawlrBox is the best value among the art subscription boxes I've tried in this price range. The only other box that impresses me this much is the Art Snacks Plus, but that's a much pricier box. By the way, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. If the bell is just an outline when you ring it, that means YouTube has turned on what they're calling personalized notifications, which is their way of saying occasional. If you'd like to get all my upload notifications, go ahead and click it again and change it so that the bell is filled in. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday at minimum, with bonus uploads some weeks. This will be a bonus week, and I'm so excited for Friday's upload. It's a surprise! If you already figured out what it means that I'll be uploading on the third Friday of the month, well then shh! It's a surprise! If you like this video, please do hit that like button and leave a comment down below. I really do appreciate it. I love reading your comments and I do reply to everyone. It's also quite helpful for tiny channels like this one if you interact in that way, so thank you so much to my regular commenters. You rock. Up at the top of the card with the date, September 2019, ScrawlrBox number 49, it says, be inspired by this month's featured artist, get out your magnifying glass and take a closer look at the tiny life forms all around us. Focus on the busy, intricate details of creating a scene full of these little creatures and imagine what they might get up to when you're not looking and what characters or personalities they might have. Wow, run-on sentence. Scrawler tip. Make sure you create a swatch of all the watercolors before use, as the pigments are so intense, some colors do look different on the sheet to what you might expect when washed out. First item, Viviva Watercolor Sheets. The best time to get creative is in the moment. When witnessing a beautiful sunrise or sat in a picturesque cafe by a bustling street. Unfortunately, inspiration doesn't always wait for a suitable time of day, and some methods of painting are messy and inconvenient for portable use. Viviva Watercolor Sheets are the easiest and most convenient watercolor set to paint with on the go. Each sheet is made of a super saturated layer of color deposited on paper. There are 16 intense and vibrant colors to choose from, and there is no need to worry about any mess. Simply pick up this amazingly thin and lightweight watercolor set and paint, and you will be able to get creative whenever you want, wherever you are. Suggested retail price is £18.99. I was super excited to get this item because I've been curious about these watercolor sheets ever since Viviva sent them out to a bunch of YouTubers to show off about a year ago. I considered ordering a set multiple times, but dang, they're pricey for what they are, especially when you consider shipping outside of the USA. So to have them show up in a ScrawlrBox, yes please. We've been given the 16 color set, which I believe is the smallest set you can buy. These are super condensed literal sheets of dried watercolors, about 1 millimeter thick, that have been stuck to heavyweight card pages. If you're careful, you can actually pick at the corners and start to roll the sheet up. If for some reason you wanted to put these paints in or on something else, you probably could. The cards have a linen texture to them, which remind me of art papers meant for oil and acrylic painting, which is interesting. Because they're so condensed, some of the colors do indeed look very different in this dry form than they do when activated. As the info card said, the blues, greens, and purples in particular end up looking the most different. In Kasey's video on this box, she noticed that when she used a lot of the violet, which appears quite green on the sheet, it started to shift back to green as the paint dried. I didn't experience that with the violet at all, but I think the Persian blue did it in the very first spot where I applied it to my artwork. It's hard to tell because I was blending with other colors, but that spot has a different shine now that the artwork is dry and everything. Much like Kasey's experience, I did find that these paints are extremely eager to reactivate and bleed into neighboring areas as you work, but at the same time they really don't want to blend on the paper very well. They push and pull on the paper very well, but they're not so great for blending and they don't like to lift. I ended up cheating a bit at the end and doing some blending with my filbert brush rather than the included round, just because I was getting so frustrated with the paints. I needed the extra help of a brush that's more suited to blending. It's the Princeton Snap Filbert from the August Art Snacks, by the way. I noticed that the two lighter greens we were given, light green and sap green, look very similar, and the shade deep pink is redder than the crimson, even though the little color tabs on the sheet certainly doesn't look that way. I love the Persian blue. Overall, I think this is a nice set for quick sketches or adding a single color to a doodle, but I won't be using these for projects where something like my Winsor Newton Cotman travel set would do the job. Next up, Pentel Orenz Mechanical Pencil. This special mechanical pencil features a one-click anti-breaking system with a unique lead sleeve that retracts as the lead wears down, meaning it will still draw without needing to expose a lot of vulnerable lead. This exclusive design maximizes lead protection and avoids any disturbance while using. The Orenz can also write at almost any angle without issue, as the lead sleeve doesn't snag the paper. With its easy and comfortable use, this mechanical pencil is set to revolutionize your drawing, and even hides a handy little eraser under the clicker. Suggested retail price is £11.29. I've noticed as I was looking at different unboxing photos for this box on Instagram that the barrel of this pencil seems to have been sent out in two different colors, and upon very close inspection I noticed that the black barrel is 0.5 millimeters while the blue barrel is 0.7 millimeters. I was honestly hoping for the 0.7 because that's the size I used to use for note-taking in school, so I have a ton of perfectly good Pentel and Pilot leads in that size. I received a surprising number of 0.5mm mechanical pencils in boxes this year, so I have invested in a refill pack of 0.5mm lead in 2H, but I really didn't need yet another pencil to use it in. I do like this one a lot better than the Plumchester mechanical pencil in this size, but is it better or worse than the Zebra one from the Jazzy Art Box? I really don't know. I find it kind of funny that they said the retracting lead sheath means you won't be interrupted by breaking lead, because when your lead gets too short, it just suddenly retracts the rest of the way, and it's just as jarring as a snapped lead. This pencil appears to have come with HB lead inside. It doesn't say anywhere on the barrel or on the info card, but I scribbled a comparison with some of my other art pencils, and it looks like the Edelweiss pencil from Caran d'Ache we got sometime in the last year. It was also an HB. And bonus, this time we got 3 leads in this pencil. Once again, subtle shade at the Plumchester with their single stick of 2B. Moving on, Milan Round Synthetic Brush 611. This Milan round brush with a short wooden handle is a great companion to these watercolors. The matte black finish with a dipped silver end combines with a nickel ferrule to give a very sleek and polished look. The synthetic bristles of the brush make it perfect for use with watercolor paints and other water-based techniques. Suggested retail price is £1.79. I really like the Milan pencil and eraser we got earlier this year, so I was very intrigued by this paintbrush, and it did not disappoint. It is a very standard round size 6 for a watercolor brush. It looks to be about the same size and shape as my Winsor Newton Cotman and Winsor Newton Special Series round 6 brushes. It does currently hold a finer point, but that may just be because it's new. Round size 6 is a brush I reach for often, so I'm always happy to have another one from a good quality brand. And that price, £1.79, that's less than $3 Canadian and just barely more than $2 US. What a deal. If I ever come across this brand in my travels, I'm definitely stocking up. Next we have the Winsor Newton Fineliner, a superior quality black ink fineliner pen with a tapered steel sheathed nib. This pen has a slightly longer barrel than standard, which is made from 100% recyclable polypropylene. It sits comfortably in the hand and allows for a variety of drawing and sketching styles. The fineliner contains a water-based pigment ink that is non-fading, water-resistant, and acid-free. This consistent and reliable ink flow makes it perfect for your bringing your next sketch to life. Suggested retail price is £3.58. I've been curious about these fineliners ever since I heard that Winsor Newton made pigment fineliners, because I do love their products, and you know I like a good pigment fineliner. This one is a chunky 08, so I don't really feel like I can give a completely fair judgment, since the bigger tipped pens do end up putting down what appears to be a blacker line than the smaller sizes. It definitely is a good pigment liner, especially if you're a patient artist and don't rush into your next stage right after laying the fineliner down. It does take a minute or two longer than Microns and Copic multiliners to dry. Once it's dry though, it is permanent. There's very little information on the barrel of the pen, just the Winsor Newton logo and the size. That's it. It's very sleek and clean looking. They're more expensive than Microns, Copic multiliners, and Staedtler pigment liners though, so I probably won't replace it once it's done. And finally, we have Bockingford Watercolour 300 GSM paper. Beautiful English watercolor paper traditionally made on a cylinder mold machine at St. Cuthbert's Mill. This is a high-quality paper that is made by using pure materials to archival standards. Its attractive surface is created using natural woolen felts that give it a distinctive random texture. This is an extremely forgiving watercolor paper valued by both professional and amateur artists around the world. No suggested retail price was given. I visited the Jackson's Art Supply website to get an estimate on the cost of this paper. I have an affiliate link for Jackson's in the description, by the way. As a Canadian, I find I really get dinged on shipping costs when ordering from the States, but I don't when ordering from the UK. And if my favorite stores here in Canada don't have something I'm looking for, Jackson's usually does. If you use my affiliate link and you sign up for a new customer profile, you'll get a 10% discount on your first order. The suggested retail price for a Bockingford 300 GSM cold press pad of 12 5x14 inch sheets in a glued pad format has a suggested retail price of £12.12. So if we divide that by 12 sheets, then cut that in half again for roughly the size we got in the box, that works out to a box contents value of £1.01 for the 2 sheets in this box. We'll call it £1. We've had other papers from St. Cuthbert's Mill in ScrawlrBoxes before, and I really do like their paper. Their papers, along with Legion Stonehenge Aqua, are on my wish list at Jackson's. The challenge on the card this month is feeling buggy. I ended up drawing a scarab beetle because I was thinking I would put a whole bunch of interesting rainbow colors in for the shiny effect they tend to have, and then blend in darker blues, greens, and black to darken it up into a more realistic piece. That went out the window very quickly when I saw how poorly these blend on the page and how easily they reactivate by mistake when you're working in neighboring sections of the piece. I still like the idea of this piece, and I was happy with my sketch, but I don't like the final piece, and I blame that 100% on the watercolors. Again, I think these are much more useful for sketching, adding a pop of color to doodles, rather than trying to do a full watercolor piece with these paints. I noticed that these paints dry quickly on the cards, which is nice. The wax sheets in between do a good job of keeping the mess to a minimum. And now that I've opened each page and worked with it a bit, the booklet no longer closes as tightly as it used to, but that's expected. I've secured it with a bit of washi tape, and since the heavy card sheets have a glossy finish, a low-tack tape like washi isn't going to damage it. What do you think? Are Viviva Colorsheets worth it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm especially curious to know what you think if you've also tried them. The idea of these sheets reminds me of those gimmicky fan-out sets. I have one of those by Superior, and I filmed a swatch and test when I got it months and months ago, but I haven't bothered to make a proper video out of it yet. Do you want to see that? I've actually got a light fastness test going on right now with a lot of my paints. I have one swatch set taped in the window in the spare room and one swatch set tucked away from the light in a folder where I normally keep my swatch sheets. Superior watercolors are one of the brands I'm testing. They've been up for a little over a month so far, and I think the Superior ones are holding up well. But anyway, I've talked a lot. Sketchbox Premium from this month will be Thursday, and as I teased earlier, I've got a very special bonus coming out on Friday. See you then!